to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And we are back once again. I am tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And we almost had a little incident here. I was here messing around with my board, doing some stuff, recording some other stuff that I have in the works. And I got done, and I just left my board running. I didn't leave it running. I shut it off. It wasn't recording anymore. And my microphone quit working. I was sitting here for about 15 minutes, kind of got up, cruising social media a little bit, and went down and hit record, and it froze up. So I don't know. It's working now. I had to restart it, reset it. So we're fingers crossed, man. I've had this board a long time, and I haven't had to do a lot of stuff with it. In fact, I probably haven't even updated it like I should, but that's okay. It still works, and I'm okay with that. So fingers crossed the audio keeps up for this episode. If not, I don't know what to tell you. But we are back today. This is the main podcast. This is not the training series. This is not the Welcome to Guns series. This is the main podcast. And, we'll just kind of talk about what's on Todd's mind. Sometimes we get a little more than other days. Sometimes not much at all. It just kind of depends on what has happened during the week. I've had a few classes this week. It's been a little chilly, to be honest with you, but we've had classes nonetheless. People got new guns. People are excited. They want to learn how to use them, and I'm okay with that. So bring it on, man. We'll do the classes in the cold because I can put my hands in my pocket. You can't. So if you want to have a class and pay me money and do some learning when it's 20 degrees and 15-mile-an-hour winds on you, that is totally up to you. That is okay with me. So not a whole lot going on besides that. I've got a few more classes this week. I'm preparing for a vendor show I got coming up this next weekend, which, it's a vendor show. It's good to get out in the public. It's a vendor show for women only, so women will show up to the Twin Falls County Fairgrounds near where I'm located here, and they will just kind of look like a craft. It's not even a craft show, just like a big vendor show for women. So if you're a vendor and you have things that you sell things that women might be interested in, you come and you set up, and people rifle in and around and through all day long for 2 days, and they stop and they chat with you. So that's a good way for me to get in front of women, since a good portion of my students actually are female. Are women, and it's just growing every year. So I'm not complaining about it, but it's not my most favorite thing to just sit there and chat a lot. Whatever. Anyhow, I'll be there. I'll be doing it because it's how I advertise. So if you're local, if you're there, if maybe your wife or your girlfriend or your mom or someone that you know is going to be at that vendor show, tell them to swing by and say hi. I'll have some classes prepared. I think we're going to set up and do another kids class or kids defense class. I'll have that set up for January, February. I think end of March is when I got it set up for. So they can see all the information there. They can get signed up there. Probably have some other stuff hanging out. They're just mostly there, just answering a lot of questions, talking to a lot of people, hopefully, letting them know what I do and letting them know how what I do can benefit them. So there you go. That is what is happening for me this coming weekend. So really, I hope the weather is absolutely 100% miserable and gross outside, because I am going to be stuck inside. So there you go. That's my wish. But other than that, I wish spring would hurry up and get here. It's that time of year. I want to get out. I want to start doing things. I want to start doing more shooting. I want to start doing more classes. Also, in 2 weeks, not this coming week, but the next week, I have all my group classes are starting. I have the first week, I got my elite men's group is starting up. They're going to meet on Monday evening. If you're listening to this and I haven't sent an email out, I will be sending an email out. The plan was today, but at this rate, it might be tomorrow. And I have my advanced women's group is going to be starting up. And then the next week, I believe I have 2 more groups starting up as well. So we are hitting the ground running. It is February. This is when I start getting busy with those groups. And that means we probably got some windy weather, but that means spring is right around the corner. So kind of looking forward to it. I know these groups have been filling up last minute. I had like 3 people sign up just today. So they're cutting it kind of close, but they're getting signed up. Looking forward to all of that. Now, I am sitting here, I'm looking at my list. By the way, I did build some, if you've been on social media at all, I put together and built some plate racks that I'm really excited about, and I have not shot at them yet. And you're probably thinking, Todd, you have got a range that you can go shoot at anytime you want, and you have not shot these plate racks. I mean, I could have done it today. I could have done it this morning. But I didn't. I don't know why. I can't tell you why I didn't, except for the fact that when I woke up, it was like 9 degrees outside, and I had to go run. Then I came home, and I just did not feel like going outside in the cold. But I look forward to using those. I look forward to using those in a bunch of classes I got coming up this summer. It'll be fun. I'm like super excited to see how my carpenter skills hold out. I built these racks out of wood. Now I purchased the plates, they're spring loaded, self-resetting, that kind of stuff. And I built these out of wood. So fingers crossed, we will see how they hold up. We'll see how good a carpenter I am, which I can tell you right now, I am not that good a carpenter, but just some random thoughts that I had. In the last, couple months, I've been seeing more and more. In fact, I've seen them in my permit classes quite a bit, and I've seen them more and more showing up to these private classes. And we have a certain gun that I've been seeing, and it is a Canic. I love the Canic guns. I know someone who listens to this podcast that is just loves Canics. Like, that's his gun. Like, and Cajun Cowboy, if you're listening, that is you. Cajun Cowboy loves his Canics, and they've got a whole slew of them now. I remember when they came out years ago, they were kind of like bottom rung. People didn't really know what they were. This stupid Turkish gun, yada yada. But they were good. They were good. They held up. They were good. They had wonderful factory triggers, probably the best factory trigger on the market. Just fantastic guns, and they just have taken off. They really have, and they've taken a pretty good. I don't know numbers. This is just coming off of what I see. I think they've taken a pretty good share of the market, and it's awesome. They just opened their first U.S. manufacturing plant, so they're going to get and they've just announced their first all American made in the U.S. or made at their U.S. plant firearm, and that's the Canic Meta Prime, I believe is what it is. The Canic Meta Prime, or MCS Prime. I don't know, something like that. Anyhow, the gun that I've been seeing show up, though, that they have is the Canic Meta. There's a few different versions of them, but they're all really, really, really good. And I got to thinking about it today. Like, I had someone ask me, what would you tell a new shooter to go buy? There's a lot of different guns on the market. There's some really little guns. There's like the SIG P365, which is getting kind of bigger, a little easier to hold, and it's still a good gun in its own right, honestly. But if someone wanted something that was a little larger, but wasn't like full size, it was still really good, and for a newer shooter had a phenomenal trigger, I think hands down right now, I'd probably have to recommend someone going and buying a Canic and probably getting a Canic Meta. Find one that fits them. They have different grip lengths and whatnot. Find one that fits you. I don't think you can go wrong with that. The gun is easy to shoot. It manages the recoil real well. And, of course, the shooter can do that as well as when they work on their grip and stance and all that good stuff. It's got a really good trigger. And it's just an easy gun to shoot. Shoots really nice. It's durable. And that's the one I'd recommend, honestly, seriously. I had one of those come into another class just yesterday morning, and brand new shooter loved the gun. She loved the gun, and I think it's just right, the right size. It's the right in between size. I think you can get a good full grip on it, but it's not going to be too difficult to carry. But yet it's not going to have the horrible recoil of like a smaller gun, right? And I think that's kind of where we're sitting, and it'll hold quite a few rounds. And I don't know. If you're out there and you're shopping for a new gun, take a look at the Canik Meta. If someone talks to you and says, hey, says, hey, I want to buy my first gun, you might talk to him about that because it's a really good firearm. Like it really is. I'm super impressed with it. Now, a couple more things that I want to carry. This is something we've talked about this before and how ridiculous it is, and actually how I've heard local trainers, local instructors offer up this bit of just asinine advice, right? And I've talked about it before. We'll get to it in a second, but I've also heard this being stated online lately. Like some of your shooting influencers like on YouTube have actually done this, and they actually recommend this. And this is the wackiest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. But there's people out there that are encouraging you to carry full metal jackets for your self-defense rounds. Now, that is just dumb. That is just dumb. Full metal jackets for your carry rounds. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And if they're not telling you to carry a full mag of full metal jackets, they're telling you to alternate between a hollow point and a full metal jacket. So hollow point, full FMJ, hollow point, FMJ, HP FMJ, HP FMJ. Alternate like that because you never know. You never know what you're going to get into. That's what they'll tell you. You never know the situation you're going to get into. You might need that full metal jacket. For what freaking reason would you need that full metal jacket? Come on. I would be worried about the liability of you using that, having it go through the target and hitting and killing someone else. That right there is where you're going to have an issue, right? That's why you don't carry FMJs as defense rounds. That's just the dumbest, most asinine, stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I do not understand. That is not logical thinking. I do not understand the thinking of why people would do that. I don't understand the thinking of why they'd even alternate. I mean, you're halfway there at that point. You're using a hollow points and FMJs alternating. You're halfway there. Just go all the way, man. Why would you run to second base and stop? Don't do it. Carry good defense rounds. Come on now. I mean, that's just stupid thinking. Stupid thinking. If you go to someone's class and they tell you they're an instructor and they encourage you to carry FMJs as defense rounds or tell you that they do, or you're watching someone on YouTube, and I'm no YouTube influencer, right? I'm just not. But you're listening to them on YouTube. There's a prominent guy on YouTube that's what he carries, and that's what he says he carries, and as his defensive rounds. If you start hearing that, turn the channel, turn it quick, and don't go back. We've always warned about stuff you hear on YouTube, right? Don't always believe it. Take everything with a grain of salt. Don't always believe it. In the same way as you step into a class and some instructor tells you some bullshit like he carries full metal jackets for his defense, leave. Just turn around and leave. Don't look back. Just turn around and leave. You're better off just leaving, honestly. I tell you what, when you purchase a firearm, when you go out and buy a gun, it's not an inexpensive ordeal. Like it really isn't. Gun prices have gone up quite a bit. And if you're getting a gun, you need to get ammo. You need to get full metal jackets for range ammo. And then, you're going to have to swallow that lump in your throat because you're going to have to put up some money and you're going to have to buy some defensive rounds. And if you're doing it right, you need to buy a couple boxes of defensive rounds so you can make sure your gun runs and functions with them. And guess what, folks? You can. You got to order them special typically, but you don't typically buy defensive rounds in boxes of 50. You buy them in boxes of 20, and they're expensive. They're a lot more money. They might cost you $25, $30, $40, depending on what you're buying, for 20 rounds versus 50 rounds. So they're pretty expensive, right? And then if you're going to carry the gun, you should probably get a good holster. We've talked about this before. It's like a package deal, right? You need to go out and buy a good holster. Good, solid Kydex holster. Along with all this ammo, along with the gun, all this costs money. And folks, if you can't do it right, then just don't do it. Like if you can't afford to do this, just either buy one thing at a time or just don't do it and just wait until you have all the money you need to purchase everything that you need to do this correctly. You can't. you can't half-ass this. You just really can't. If you're going to carry a gun, a proper holster, proper carry ammo, get some training, go out and put the time in. Like, you just have to do that. If you can't afford to do it, don't do it. Honestly, folks, I don't know what else to tell you. If you can't afford to do it, don't do it. If you got to downgrade your gun a little bit, that's fine. Like, it's your first time buying a gun, funds are tight, you don't know what you want. You know what? I know I got some people listening to this, they're going to just roll their eyes. And I just talked about buying the Canik. The Canik Meta is not a horrible gun. I mean, it's a good gun. It's not horribly priced. It's probably average price. It's probably anywhere from $500 to $600, let's say. Without looking, I'm just going to take a stab at it, right? $500 to $600. If you can't afford all that stuff and you've got to downgrade on a gun, go get yourself a Taurus. Go get yourself like a Taurus G3, even a G2, right? One of those. They're not, I mean, you get what you pay for. They're not going to fail on you, but they're not as refined as something you spend a little bit more money on, but that frees you up a little more money to go get some of those other things, a holster, some ammo, some training, whatever it is. Do that. Downgrade a little bit so you can get all that proper stuff, right? That's the way to do it. Be willing and ready to invest a little money in your craft and your trade, especially if it's something that you are going to need to defend yourself possibly and defend your family with, right? You want all the proper tools and the proper training. So I'm always on a soapbox. I say jump off. I'm constantly just ranting about things, but little update, I've got a wish list and, SHOT Show is over now. I'm sure we all at this point, I'm sure we all have a wish list now. If you're paying attention to anything at the SHOT Show. Unfortunately, I will not be getting that G19 sized, platypus that I was looking at because they are not making it. They are not making it yet. This is not in development so I saved myself a little bit of cash there, but I'm still looking forward to my tactical lever action. And I think I've chose a 357 flavored caliber for that. Now they are not being made yet. They're supposed to be available this spring. So I am trying to get on a list at one of my local gun stores to get on a wish list and let their buyers know that they are interested in one. So if it becomes available and they are allocated some, that they can know that store wants one and I shall buy it. Now, I was kind of poking around the other day, taking a look at some things, and I walked into one of my local gun stores and was talking to him about it. And the one guy's like, well, Smith & Wesson has their tactical version. And I was like, no way. And they showed me it. And it is. It's a tactical version, but it's not near as cool as the Marlin Dark series that I want. I tell you what, if you got a chance, look up the Smith & Wesson version of their like tactical style, black colored lever action. Then look up Marlin's Dark series lever action, and you'll see what I'm saying. I just don't know. That I could. Excuse the pun. I don't know that I could pull the trigger on one of the Smith & Wesson ones, knowing that the Marlin, I never thought I'd say Marlin was I never think that I would choose a Marlin over a, Smith & Wesson, but the Marlin Dark series, man, that's the way to go. Let's talk about this. I don't really need this gun. It's not a handgun. It's nothing I'm going to use in class. I'm getting this gun because it's something I want, because I think it's cool, because I think it's badass, because I feel the need to own it, right? So if I'm going to get that, I'm going to hold out. I'm going to get the one I want. I'm going to get the one that looks cool, because in this type of situation, looks are everything. Pair that up with a nice red dot, there'll be some pretty cool stuff there. So that's what I'm holding out for. And I was thinking about going with a 44 mag. I think I'm just gonna go with the 357. It's gonna have all the oomph I want it to. I could actually take it out and go hunting with the darn thing if I wanted to. But I think I got all the reloading components for 357. I've got the bullet dies. I've got a bunch of bullets actually cast up already. The bullet dies. I've got brass. I've got anything I need to load up those 357 rounds and even 38s. So I think I am going to just bite the bullet, and when I can get one, I am going to get the 357 caliber pill for that gun, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's going to be a good year, folks. It's going to be a good year. I am ready. Got lots of new plans for these. I know I keep saying that, but I'm just excited, and it's all I think about because, yeah, it's cold outside, and there's not a whole lot more to do for me to do until classes actually start up. So I've been putting together, whether or not people want to hear this or not, for my elite group, I've been putting together some, I don't know if I'm going to call it like carry fit or shooting fit or what. But I am going to pair some physical activity with some shooting. Now I'm going to leave this up as an option. These guys are like listening. I don't know. We'll see what they think. I'm sure I'll hear from them, but it won't be what we do in the elite group necessarily. But I think I'm going to add to it and say, hey, look, if you guys want anyone that wants to stay after and do this, the option is there. And I don't know, we might add some like farmer carry, some plates back and forth, wear out the grip, wear out the shoulders, wear out the forearms, and then have to come and run through a shooting course or do a timed shoot, get that heart rate through, go run, lift some weight, do something, right? Burpees, whatever it is, man. I could modify this. We could do all kinds of stuff. Get that heart rate up and see what it's like. We are gonna stretch our legs a little bit in this elite group, and we're gonna step outside of everything and kind of do some different things. Run some courses, shoot some courses with our carry rounds. It's a small enough group that I think I may actually join in a little bit. And I've got a small gun that I carry when I run. I may run a course with that stupid little thing. Let's see how good I am with that little mouse gun. Everyone always makes fun of it. So let's see if I can shoot the thing. Let's see how well I do. Like I'm excited to step outside my bounds and do these things. Learn how to shoot fast, move fast, run courses left-handed, run courses right-handed. Like these guys better be ready because as soon as we get to the point where we can actually shoot outside, like we're going to do some cool stuff. I'm really, really looking forward to it. It's gonna be a fun year. Like it really is. I get really excited when spring and summer come around. And I can put some of these new classes and these new ideas out there and just kind of get after it. So I'm looking forward to that. And again, this is a short podcast. I'm looking at my freaking timer right now. And it is a short podcast, and I do apologize. But one more thing before I go. I actually have toyed with the idea. I have a buddy, a friend of mine that that works as local law enforcement. He works for the local sheriff department, and I've actually toyed with the idea. I've talked to him, and he's in. We just got to make it work. If you guys want to hear it, thought about getting a law enforcement guy in on one of these podcasts, like once a month. Do a little law enforcement episode, like what do you do when this happens? What do you do when this happens? Maybe you can talk about different cases. Maybe, I don't know, just kind of something different. Maybe make that a regular, a monthly episode, possibly, if I can make it work. Is that something everyone wants to check out? Would that be something you'd like to hear? Because if it is, I can definitely make it happen. But until then, folks, I'm looking at my phone here, and my son has tried to call me. My wife has tried to call me. And 2 of my daughters have tried to call me. So somebody's dead or got a flat tire somewhere. I don't know, but I probably should return these calls. So I'm going to let you guys go. Again, if you got any comments, any questions, call me, text me, area code 620-794-6223. It's area code 620-794-6223. Yeah, everyone have a great week. Thanks for listening. Share the podcast. I will talk to you later. Bye.